Welcome to On Trac, a podcast where we talk with agriculture and construction professionals to find out how they keep their business on track. I'm Tori Weaver, Director of Sales here at TracTru, and today's guest is Scott Eckard, a District Sales Manager with Kubota Tractor Corporation. Scott, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So just to start out, just to get to know a little bit more about you, where did you get your start in ag and construction as an industry, and what keeps that passion alive?
Well, it kind of started at a happenstance. You get out of college, not sure what you're going to do with your life. And first interview I went on was with a national construction rental company out of Orlando or in Orlando. And so started there in '08 and kind of worked my way through Herc. It was Hertz at the time for about 6 years, and then went to work for H&E for about a year. So stayed in the equipment rental industry space for the first 6-7 years of my career. And, it didn't have a background to lean on, if you will. Didn't grow up in the agricultural industry or really the construction industry. That's how it worked out. And been extremely pleased with my path throughout the first 15 years. And, from the rental side of it, actually went my first foray, if you will, into the agricultural side of it was with New Holland in late 2013, and that was a kind of an experience just because I'd never sat on a tractor before, so it was all new to me. But and I think that's a lot of what keeps it exciting for me is I didn't grow up in it, so I don't have those past experiences to lean on. So a lot of what I experience is new to me. Kind of learn as you go. The new equipment kind of keeps it exciting, and really the biggest thing in terms of the passion side of it's the people. That's the beautiful part of this job is you get to deal with different people every day of the week, and a different problem, what seems like sometimes every minute of the day. So it definitely keeps it fresh and exciting.
That's awesome. And I think that kind of leads into the next piece, and that is you've been very successful in what you've done with Kubota Tractor Corp over the last few years being there. You were promoted from a regional to a district sales manager. You were sales manager of the year for 2021. So tell me kind of what those accomplishments look like and mean to you within your region and territory. And then with Kubota as an OEM as a whole, what that looks like for you and your career path.
Yeah. So that's, career path's one of those things you're always trying to continually figure out. And I've been extremely pleased with really all my experiences since coming on with Kubota in 2016. And, I attribute a lot of my success, if you will, from spending 3 years as a RSM region sales manager to moving into the office and taking a district role. Again, just to my, the people and the willingness to take on a new challenge and a new role. And, a lot of my success as a on the district side obviously falls with my team as a whole. So, I got 5 region sales managers underneath me in the Southeast, and they're all very experienced, more experienced than I am when it comes to the industry itself. And it's been a lot of fun kind of taking what each of them do so well. They also do it very differently. And so that allows me to have a pretty broad scope of new challenges and how to attack them. And, it really don't know what the next 5-10 years holds, but if there's one thing I've come to find out, I'd like for my path, whatever direction that may go, to stay on the dealer facing side. I think that's the kind of the heartbeat of this industry, and it is for Kubota. It's what drives our growth every year and my growth as an employee. So that's I'm open to a lot of new things as long as it primarily stays on the dealer facing side.
I completely agree that the dealerships and the consumers are kind of where all the fun is at in this dealer world. So that being said, from a consumer standpoint, that behavior is evolving rapidly to digital and e-com and all of those types of things. What are some of the changes you've seen in the ag and construction space from your start to where you're at now? And how are you seeing dealers adapt to those consumer needs?
I think we've really seen it speed up in the last 3 or 4 years, or really primarily since COVID started. I think we saw everything move online, or a lot of things move online, and although digital marketing and the sort had already come along by then, it really sped it up, I think, to where dealers realized, oh man, I can't can't not wait on this anymore. We got to learn, we got to dive headfirst into it. And, I think that'll continue to evolve, even as things hopefully continue to get back to normal. But I think we've seen consumer, purchasing decisions change right along with it. Like you mentioned, the e-commerce on the parts. I know some manufacturers are even migrating that into whole goods or have done that for some time now. We're kind of on the back side of that, but we're really starting to branch out and grow that portion of our business. So I think, COVID kind of spawned a new way of how some companies go to market and how most consumers purchase, the products that they need. So I think we'll continue, even though things are slowly getting back to normal. I think we'll continue to see those practices, continue.
On the dealer front, do you feel like they are having big changes on their front as well when it comes to that mergers and acquisition side of things, where, we're kind of seeing a lot more changes in dynamics amongst dealerships and how they're working together and what's working? Do you see that happening more and more over the next few years?
Yeah, I think so. I think it at least from our perspective on the Kubota side, that really sped up in the last 24 months with mergers and acquisitions and larger dealers wanting to get larger. And I think a lot of what attributes to that is our dealer network as it stands today. And, for the most part, we're still over 50% what we call single store or mom and pop smaller businesses. So I think as those ownership groups and families continue to age and move forward, that we'll continue to see that grow. And we're, in all honesty, as a company, still trying to determine how we're going to handle that, long term, and what we want our dealer network to look like in the next 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kubota's done a very good job on the consumer standpoint of keeping in touch with their clientele in terms of when dealers get larger, it still feels like you're walking into the same dealership that you've always known. So they've done a really good job of that. And I know that consumers appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree. It's a challenge, right? To keep that, the way of doing business the same for the most part, regardless of whether you have 1 or 2 stores or 10 to 12. It's a big challenge on the dealership part to maintain that feel. And I think for the most part, our dealer group's done a fantastic job with that and really sets us apart.
Is that something you guys are doing as regional and district managers, that you're helping coach those kind of concepts through on best practices and how we can better create more ease for the consumer when it comes to those mergers?
Yeah, I think it's an ever evolving task, if you will. And most of our dealer network as a whole is very open to, suggestions or recommendations, and then half the time they're teaching us stuff. So, that's part of the fun, is trying to divvy out some of your knowledge and also being open enough to take in what they can teach us as we continue to, see our network grow.
Yeah, so Kubota is celebrating their 50th anniversary, which is an awesome milestone for them. Tell us about how Kubota has evolved over the years from kind of start to where we're at now.
Well, I think it is exciting, and I'm really happy to be a part of it this year and to see all the different celebrations that are upcoming with our dealer meeting in the next 3 weeks. And I think the majority of what we've seen develop or grow over the last 50 years is our products. When we started in the U.S. market back in the late 60s, early 70s, we were a small garden tractor, and that was really all we did. And we did it really well. And, I think we've been able to maintain that, which is not easy to do. I think you see a lot of companies come and go in this core segment of our business, but we've been able to maintain that really well and also rapidly grow our overall product portfolio with the addition of mini excavators and then our other construction products over the last 10, 15 years, as well as our tractors, going from basically what starts at 20 horsepower all the way up to 200 at this point, a full product portfolio of hay tools as well. And I think it speaks volumes to what our dealer network has been able to adapt with us and grow with us at the same time. And I think that's what's most exciting, is everything we seem to come out with or develop, they're right there with us and on board and pushing that product to the consumer. So it's been pretty exciting just in my short 6.5 years here to watch, and look forward to watching that for a long time to come.
Yeah, it speaks volumes to that dealer network. One of the other things that I noticed was on your 50th anniversary page, it has the slogan, "Together we do more." So how do you feel like Kubota is able to do more through their partnerships with dealers and customers and really grow that business?
Yeah, I mean, I alluded to it a little bit just in the conversation prior, but we wouldn't be where we were today without the dealers that took a chance on us 50 years ago, and taking on our line. And as I mentioned, I can't think of a time where we've announced a new process or a new product group or whatever it may be, where the dealers haven't been 100% behind us. And it's really impossible to go to market with a new product without that support from your dealer network. And fortunately, I can easily say that we have the best and most vast dealer network out there. And I think that's the majority of it, is just that we can't do what we do without our dealers.
That's awesome. So there's a couple more questions. If you could go back and tell yourself one thing when you were starting your career, what would it be?
Embrace change. I think, a lot of people pride themselves on being able to adapt. And I think in any industry, but, primarily, obviously this is the only experience I have in this type of industry, and change happens every day. And I think that's something that I try to instill in some of our newer and young people that are coming on board, is that, you just got to embrace the change and be positive and find a way to make it work with your scope of your job.
Completely agree. That is 100% on point. And that being said, what is some of the best advice you've been given when it comes to leadership?
I think, listening to your people. Like I said, the 5 direct reports that I have are extremely knowledgeable and much more experienced than I am in this, and that's fine with me. I'm okay. I don't need to be the most experienced one in the room. I like to think that I add value through something other than experience, and I lean on them to handle the product side of it and just the general knowledge of the industry. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to follow up with that you really feel like we should know about Kubota, or we should know about what you're doing in Kubota, that you kind of want to close this out with, so I don't take up too much of your time today?
Not necessarily, other than the fact that I hope, whether you're a part of our Kubota family or sitting on the outside, that you continue to watch what we can bring to the market. I think it's an exciting company to be a part of, and there's a lot of growth coming for us in the future. And, would love for anybody that wants to be a part of it to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I can attest to what Scott says. We are Kubota tractor drivers at our own farm, and we appreciate working with the Kubota and Kubota dealers at all times. They've been great to us. So thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.